Good day, my name is Jonathan Jaikisun. Today I'll be showing you how to install and configure Zabbix and also explaining what exactly Zabbix does. So let's start off with that first. So Zabbix is an open source monitoring solution or software. It's used to basically track the performance and availability of any IT infrastructure like servers, networks, virtual machines, applications, databases, stuff like that. So what does Zabbix do exactly? So it monitors metrics like CPU usage, memory, disk, network bandwidth, service uptime and downtime, and application performance. And it also sends alerts and notifications, which I'm going to be demonstrating live later on in the video. So it sends emails, SMS, or any other alerts if thresholds are breached, like for example, high CPU usage, or if a server goes down, will send you a notification. So there's also dashboards, graphs, maps, screens, and all of that I will show you when we actually get into Zabbix itself. So some of the components of Zabbix, first of all, there's the Zabbix server. Then there's the Zabbix agent, which the agent needs to be installed in any host that you want to collect the data from. So for example, in my setup, Windows Server 2019, and both of these two Windows clients all have Zabbix agent installed in them already. The next thing is there's the Zabbix front end. So that's the web interface for managing and viewing monitoring data. And there's also the database, which stores the configurations and collected data. And lastly, there's the web server. So in my case, I'll be using Apache, and this just hosts the front end. So let's start with explaining what we'll be doing. So I have a Zabbix virtual machine in CentOS, which I installed on CentOS. Basically, we're just going to view what Zabbix can do, and I've set up email notifications. So if anything goes down, for example, if I start this client virtual machine right now, later on I'll show you the notification I get on the email. We'll also be going into router one and shutting down this interface F0/0, and then we'll get an email notification showing that as well. So for this lab, as I said, I'll be showing you all these things. So let's just first of all go on the Zabbix website itself. So this is how you download Zabbix. If you want a pre-installed package, just go on Zabbix package, select whatever you're using, OS. This is what I am using. And then you can download it. Just get Zabbix from here. But I did mine from scratch. So I just, in VMware, I set up a fresh CentOS 9 VM. And then I started installing Zabbix and SQL and everything else. And so I did like that. If you need, like I said, pre-install everything, you just click and choose what you need. So on this site, there's all the instructions you need to get Zabbix to work. So first thing you have to do is install the Zabbix repository, and you use these commands. You go into the file, you just literally just follow all of these instructions, and your Zabbix will work. So I'll be explaining some of these commands in a bit. So once you do all that, if you want even more instructions, because this is just the beginning steps, you just go on quick guide, and then you have a very extensive explanations on how to do basically everything you will need in Zabbix. So, for example, like logging in, um, creating hosts, triggers. They'll talk about templates. All of that I'll be covering in my explanation in a bit once I'm done showing you all of these things here. So just take a look at it, and whatever you need, it will probably be on this page. So let's go into my notes now. Right. So first thing you want to do is actually, if you don't have Zabbix, go and download it from the same site. If you want to do it like me, just set up a fresh CentOS 9, and then we start going into the commands. So first thing you want to do is just update your system. It will take a little while. Once you do that, then you use this command. This adds the MySQL 8.0 repository to your system. And then after that, you install the MySQL server. Then you enable it. So every time you start it, you won't have to start the service again. It will already be up. Then you go into the logs. So this opens the MySQL log file. It finds the temporary root password generated during installation. Then you do the secure installation. Basically, this just sets the root password, disable root login, and removes the test database. So then you log into the SQL server with this command. You enter a password. In my case, I just put password. And then you put in all of these commands. So basically, this just first it creates the Zabbix database and user, and grants privileges and allows the creation of stored functions required for Zabbix import. Zabbix, right? So this is the username and password that we have to use, and then we input this command. Basically, this just prompts you for a new password, and it returns a CentOS prompt. So once you do that, you log into it again, you put your password, and this just reverts any of the previous temporary and MySQL settings. You input all of these commands, and then this just improves the security, right? Now we're nearly finished. You go into the Zabbix server.conf configuration file. And if you're using gedit, you can do Control F, and it will bring up a search bar, and you can find, you just type in the DB password into the search bar, and then it will show you exactly where in the file that is located. Once you've done that, you just replace it with whatever password that you put previously. So make sure you remember those passwords. After that, you enable and then restart the Zabbix server and Zabbix agent. Right, and then you're nearly done. So once again, remember your password. So to log into Zabbix itself, in here, the thing is admin and the password is Zabbix. So then we stop the Zabbix server or restart it, and then check the status of it, make sure it's running. And then we're moving on to the firewall command. So you add in HTTP service. to the firewall as well as the port 8080. And then on 10,050, that's the port that Zabbix listens onto. And then ICMP echo ping, that's for pings. You can also disable the firewall, but that's not recommended. And well, I put that as optional. I didn't do that. As long as you added the services on the correct ports, you should be fine. So now we're moving on to um, the router setup in GNS3. So for my setup, I only used R1. I didn't, let me just show you. R2 has some commands already in it, but we won't be using it for this demonstration. So just be doing R1. Um, so yeah, you do the basic, bring up the interfaces and stuff. And then we go into SNMP server community admin. So admin will be the name of the community that you add in. So this will basically just tell Zabbix, so whatever changes, whatever devices you're monitoring, it will be this community that you're doing it to. And after that command, you add the host. So SNMP server host, whatever your Zabbix IP address is, you put it in, and then we're using version 2C. So there's three versions. The first version doesn't have any encryption. The second version has a little bit of encryption, and this third version, 2C, is basically an updated version, a much better version than 2. So we're using C instead. And this one has way more encryption. And then admin, that's the same name that you put. It doesn't have to be admin, it could be whatever you wanted to. And then UDP and then port, same port as we added earlier. This basically, it enables SNMP with the community string admin. That was the name we chose, and it directs SNMP traps to the Zabbix server. So now is we move on to the VMnet, not VMnet, VMware side of things. So in VMware, actually, I guess I can show you right now. In VMware, you go into VM and then settings. Oh yeah, before you make any changes, you make sure that your virtual machine is powered off. So I added a second network adapter. So you just go here, add, and then network adapter. Yeah, the second one. So VMnet 5 is host only, and that's the one my Zabbix and all my, well, no, my Zabbix is running on. And then I added VMnet 8 for NAT. So this is for the internet access. And you need that for internet, otherwise you won't get any email notifications. So make sure it's connected, or we have to show that. When I was doing my configuration, it was not connected. That's why I wasn't getting internet. So just make sure both are connected and powered on, right? So you don't have to use NAT. You can also use bridged if you like, but the network that I chose, it was conflicting with my host network because it's on the same dot 100. So that's why I use NAT, because NAT, it doesn't care about um it doesn't care about the gateway IP. It uses a different gateway IP to access the internet, so it doesn't have any confliction, basically. No conflicts in that in part of this. So once you do all that, you go into your CentOS, and then basically we're going to be configuring this new network adapter that you just put in. So the name might be different. In my case, it was ENS36. So I added it, and I gave it a network. Um, I gave it this network. As you can see, it's different from the Zabbix, right? It's a different subnet. Um, by default, VMnet 8 actually, it comes with DHCP on. I just turned it off and I gave it a static network. You can keep it on if you'd like, but in my case, I just changed it and I gave it a gateway of 2. Generally, the gateway is .2, even on the default settings. So just keep that in mind. And then I gave it a DNS of 888 just to get into it. So basically all of these commands, it adds and configures a static IP for the second interface, in my case, CNS36 in the NAT network. And then, well, this command, this one, nope, sorry, this one, it prevents any routing conflicts by disabling the default route on ENS33. And then after that, once you make the changes, once these codes go in, you just restart the network manager to apply the changes. And after that, we just test. You ping Google 8888. If you get a reply back, then you know internet is working. Then after that, you just test the DNS. So you can use this command, and it will bring up a website in the command prompt. So once you have both of those come up, you know you're good to go. And now we can start configuring Zabbix. So first thing we want to do, I'll show you in a bit, is turn on less secure apps access. So by default, it will be off. And that's in Gmail settings. So let's show you that right now. So how you access that is you go into manage your Google account. So I have it opened here already. It'll come up on home. So you just go on security and it should be up here. You just click up here and then you put it on. So you put less secure app access turn on. After you've done that, it's time to create a password for an app. So you just click app password. Input your password. Okay, so once you reach here, you create a name, you give it a name for whatever app you want a password for, and then you just hit create and it gives you a password. This password is what we'll be using, well, I'll show you later on where you put it in. This password is for when you're doing email notifications. Underneath your email, you need to input a password, and I'll show you that in a bit. So just see my notes again. All right, so let's hop into Zabbix now. After all of that talking, let's get into it. All right, so how you get in here is you go on Firefox if you're on or any search engine, and you enter this this part into, it's now letting you enter your IP address and then slash Zabbix, and then you should be able to, I mean, enough. That's where you'll be prompted to put in your username and password. So that will be whatever it was set. I believe it's admin and Zabbix. So once you have that, you'll be signed into the Zabbix dashboard, and then this is where we start adding things. So this is what it looks like. So you have your dashboard. This is where you'll see your problems. Once you start adding hosts, we'll tell you which hosts are available and also set the time. And then you have a map as well. And you have system information also. So let's start going into monitoring. So you click monitor and then we go on to hosts. Once you're in host, so I already have some pre-configured host. You can go up here, create host, and then you input some information. So let me just show you what one of mine look like. This is one of my Windows client. So I have the exact name. So make sure you put the exact name that you have saved on the whichever VM you're using, Windows client in my case. And then we go into the templates. So I picked ICMP ping, also Windows by Zabbix agent. So to add these, that's the wrong thing. Oops. You have to click select over here. Select. So I'm going to select template. So if you go on templates and you scroll down, you'll find ICMP ping. So you just click that, you select it, and then you do the same thing for the other one, but it will be on a different listing. So it will be in templates and operating systems, and then you look for Windows by Zabbix agent. And once you have both of those selected, you're good to go. Host groups. So actually, I believe you can create them right here. Yeah, so there's another screen where you can create host groups, but if you really need to, you can just create them here. So I have Windows users, so this will include my Windows hosts, so John 1 and John 2, and I believe Windows Server as well. And then we have Zabbix servers, so then I have this Zabbix server. I also made another one for the Zabbix routers, so you can add them right here if you really want to. So you just type in something and then it will say new. You click new and then basically you created a group. So I just cancel all my hosts by mistake. So once you've done that, you input over here, you say the type. So in my case, for the client machine, it will be the agent. And then for the router one, for example, that will be SNM, SNMP. And then you just add the IP address and the port, and then you go down here and you make sure this is enabled, and then you click it's either add or create. In my case, it'll be update because it's already configured. So let me just show you quickly router one, and then we'll move on to the email notification part. It's the same exact thing, basically. The only difference is down here, instead of what did I have earlier? Agent, it's SNMP. Also, the type, SNMP version 2, and then you put in the community, which is admin, and the port is 161, because that's the port that listens on. And then you just scroll down and you put enabled, and then create or add, whichever the option is. So now let's go into the email notification part of this video. So we go into alerts and then media types. Everything will be disabled by default. So you just click disabled and it will turn into enabled. So just go into email, you give it a name, type email provider. I went with Gmail. You can also do generic SMTP, sorry, or whatever you plan to use. I went to Gmail. You put in your personal Gmail or whatever account you want to receive the notifications on, and then password. This is where this step comes in, the app password that you created. That's the exact thing you want to put into password over here. And then you click enabled and then update. And then it will be updated and you can see your email on this side, under details, and then we can actually test emails, but in a little bit, we'll come back to this page. Next thing you want to do is go on actions, trigger actions, and then this will be disabled by default, I believe. So you just come here and click it, make it enabled. One thing you need is to have two operations. So make sure all of these things will be set by default. So you're just making sure that everything is on. You see if you go on edit. Right, so all of these things will be on by default. Just make sure it's there. What I did also was add a condition. I added all of my hosts in here, and then I clicked enabled, and then update. For it to save, you always click update. If you wanted to create a new action, you just go on the top right hand corner and then create an action from there. The last thing we want to do is go into user settings, and then we go into profile. So in profile, this is where we're going to set the email you want all of the notifications to actually be sent to. So you go ahead and you click add. In my case, I'm just going to show you what I did in edit. So I said send to this email when active. So 7 days a week, 24 hours, all the time. Then you just click in the severity that you want. So let's say you don't want not classified or informational warning, you just want the high, average, high, and disaster. You click whatever you want. I just put all, and then you hit enabled and then update. Make sure you click update. Once you're done, you click update over here. Once you update, it will tell you, you'll have like a green checkbox that says updated. Front-end notifications, if you want the sounds for notifications, you just click, you just check the box and then you click update. This is optional, obviously, so it's up to you if you want the sounds or not. So once you've done all that, your devices well, SNM SMTP should be updated and you should be able to get email notifications. So now let's just head into alerts, media types. And then remember I said we can test the email. So now let's do that. So you go into test and we test the email. So test subject 5. I don't want to, whatever it is. This is a test message from Zabbix. Then you click test and it says media type test successful. So let's actually go and check it out. And right, as you can see, we just got a test email from Zabbix. So now let's try some other stuff. We know that's working. Now let's go into monitoring and then host. So in here you can find you can sort your hosts by groups if you want. So if I only wanted Windows users, you can just click apply and then I'll only have Windows users. To get back to the other screen to see everything, you just click reset and then we can see all of them. So let's see, in my case right now, John 2, client 2 is down because it's not on right now. Oh yes, one last I forgot to show you actually how to set up the Zabbix agent. So on the Zabbix website, on the same page, you go on Zabbix agent and you download the agent that you want. So it depends what you're using. In my case, Windows, AMD, all of these things. And then you download the agent. And then once that's finished downloading, you drag the agent into your Windows clients. And basically it just brings up a wizard and the wizard just you basically just click in next, 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 and it's very simple. So once that's done, you should have the Zabbix agent on your services. So you just go into services, tap it, hit Z. Now in my case, Zabbix is running. So let's say I click stop on the agent. Okay, should get an email. It takes quite a while sometimes, so just give it a chance to actually send it. Actually, we can check out some of the previous tests I did. So, for example, Zabbix, it'll tell you, let me see, problem. So when I turned off my second client, it gave me this email. So there's a problem. I can't ping. That's because I shut off my second client. It will tell you Windows Zabbix agent, it's not available. That's the email we should be getting soon. And it'll tell me like, for example, the space usage on Zabbix is high, the CPU load, stuff like that. It'll tell me. Let's do one test. Say I turn off. Let's say I go into router 1 and I turn off this interface. So just shut down. So I shut down this interface and we should be seeing something soon. And you see just now, it the availability on client one was green, now it's red. If you go into the dashboard now, this is where all the problems will come up. It takes a little while. So I was showing you examples from my email itself. It takes a little while for everything to come up, but if we go into monitoring, you could also explore problems. But these are some problems that occurred. Let me see. Space is low. The Zabbix agent not available. That's because I was doing a test earlier for John 2. That's the second client. I just turned off the VM. Let's turn off VM1. So this client. If we go back into dashboard, should see some stuff coming up. It just takes a while. Okay, so I'll pause the video once it comes back up, then I'll be back. Okay, so as soon as I hit pause, both of these came up. So it says the Zabbix agent is not available. Remember, I turned off the agent and then I turned it off completely. So basically, if you go into actions, click actions, it will come up. It will say it reported the problem to the Zabbix administrator and it sent an email. So now let's go on the email and check. And we got it right here. So Zabbix agent is not available. And it tells you from the host. This is exactly the same host I just turned off. This one, PC client one. Oh, you can hear a noise. I don't know if you can hear that, but it just got another problem. So also R1. So now we can't ping. And then if you click on this one too, it will just say same thing. It sent an email. We actually see it right here. Um, right here. So generic network generic device. ICMP ping, that's router one. That's because I shut down the interface. So this interface is down and that's how come we got that email. So, and then the last thing we just got a next email. See, ping not available for John 1. It's because I turned off the entire virtual machine. So that's basically it for Zabbix email notifications and the configuration. So I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.